Hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and we don't have Adrian today. We didn't have space on the screen because I'm so pumped up and puffed up about this show. I wouldn't let him on. He is going to run the deal, and we have got an incredible show for you today. We've been so excited about it that it's just something we've been waiting for so long. We think we've got a seat at the table forthcoming. And we have got Dave Grimaldi with us, and he is the CEO of the DSA since January. And this guy is a force to be reckoned with. He's got a network marketing past, he's got a network marketing present, and he's got a network marketing future. And his commitment to us having a seat at the table is unbelievable. And I knew that there was no way that I could do this guy justice with my lack of intelligence. So I brought in two of the most powerful women on the planet in network marketing, the one and only Donna Johnson and Lisa Grossmann. And we are going to have some fun today. We're putting on the gloves or taking the gloves off, however your little cliche goes. And we're going to have a fireside chat with this guy. You're welcome to comment. You're welcome to ask questions. We're monitoring everything. And our goal is to let you understand that our profession is here to stay. And we have got a guy that is going to make sure of that at the helm, and life is good. So with that, I'm going to go over to, hello, Dave, just say hi to me first. How you doing, buddy?
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Man, we know how busy you are. I was talking to Richard Brook yesterday, and he said that you are moving all over the country, all over the world, doing everything you can to put this thing together as big as it deserves to be. And we are so excited to have you. And now we're going to go over to the great Lisa Grossmann. Lisa, how you doing, kid?
I am doing great today. I'm so excited to be here with you, Tom and Donna, of course, to have Dave as our guest. And Dave, I'm going to take this down for my own benefit and for the benefit of the audience, and go as if this is all, what are they talking about? And start with this. We say DSA, everybody's familiar with it. And not even everybody, to some degree, if you're involved in network marketing, i.e. the direct selling space. So we know that the DS probably stands for direct selling, but can you kind of share with people what the DSA is? Briefly, what I would say the 50,000 view of what it is. And I think most people view it as a trade organization, think all the companies are aware of it. But most of the people watching this, and the larger constituency in our space is, of course, the field, part-time, full-time, et cetera. If you could share with them what the DSA is, why somebody with your background, although I know you have a beginning in network marketing way back when, and all of your accolades and all of your abilities, decided that you wanted to come into this space at this time in history, take on this organization and kind of revamp it, because we're all excited to support it. We want to know more about what it's going to do for us and how we can be a part of supporting its growth.
Absolutely. Lisa, goodness, I could go for a few weeks on just that question alone. And let me start by thanking all three of you, right? Donna, Lisa, and Tom, for having me on. I consider it a privilege to be part of this family, and I use that word very seriously. A couple of people have heard me say this, but we Italians cherish family. We don't use the word as hyperbole. That's what the direct selling channel is, and what it has been to me since I walked in the door of DSA. And to that end, I'm going to do something that some people consider just risky and a little nuts, but I'm going to give my phone number now in case people drop off, because I welcome and want and crave personal connection to everyone in the channel and everyone who is listening now. I'll say it twice. Dave Grimaldi, 202-380-2203. Again, 202-380-2203. I don't sit behind a wall or in an office disconnected from the amazing people at our companies and in the field. What we do here, and Lisa, this is going to bend back around to your question. What we do here with the White House a block and a half that way down 17th Street here in Washington, D.C., what we do is powered by everyone who is paying attention right now. I stand on their shoulders.
Wow.
We need to build our narrative, grow our narrative, gain trust, credibility, respect, and everything else from every elected official, both here in Congress, in the Senate and the House of Representatives, in state houses, in state capitals across the country. I've been to a lot of them lately, and in the White House, obviously, most of all. And what DSA does is we provide that watchman and watchwoman on the tower, on the guard tower here, to keep regulations and legislation out of the way in order to enable the entrepreneurs in the channel to thrive and to continue using the greatest distribution channel in history to build businesses of any size, to grow their networks of any size, to earn that extra money every month to take their families to a dinner or two, or to do more than that, depending on their level of success. And I come from a long and very lucky career doing this kind of advocacy and evangelization and storytelling that that has shown me what works and what doesn't. And I've got a long way to go before I'll never master it. But there's so much nuance in the world and the art of consensus building and coalition building and winning over hearts and minds. And DSA is a collection of companies, both large and small, in the direct selling channel. And as part of those companies are all of your viewers who are out there using American grit and determination and spirit and entrepreneurialism to make people prettier, or to make people happier, or to make people healthier, or to give people enjoyment in through different products or services or anything like that. And my history comes from going to college. I'm born and raised here in Washington, D.C., went to college in Los Angeles. We knew no one there. I wanted to go see California, live it, love it, get it in my bloodstream. But affording it was tough. And freshman year, started selling ACN wireline service. A great fellow classmate of mine said, if you need to, we want to see you here next year for sophomore year, why don't you try this as a source of additional income? And desperate times call for desperate measures. And you find out what you're made of when that kind of desperation and that kind of desire comes in. And before I knew it, it was freshman dorms and fraternities and sororities and here's a way to cut costs on your phone calls back home to your parents. And I felt that sense of accomplishment and that sense of I'm 18, 19, 20, 21, late teens, early 20s. I know what success feels like, and I know and I know the engine inside me and what it can do. And I'm not doing it through deceit or lying or embellishment or exaggeration. I'm doing it with honesty, and I'm helping out classmates, but I'm also helping myself. And I think that that's one of the many blessings and pieces of awesomeness that the channel has. Lisa, I've run really far away from your question about my immediate background, and I'll go there in a moment, but I just wanted to get that out there.
You've been really right on point. You've kind of circled around it and given a lot of information I think help clarify a picture and paint a picture, and yet you have answered the question. So it's really been fascinating. I've loved listening to it.
And it is there. My career leading me up to this point, after law school, after working in senior roles on Capitol Hill, I am a moderate, pro-business, middle of the road Democrat, and I've worked for some amazing elected officials. None of them bomb throwers, thank God. None of the stuff that you see today with go for the jugular to get more likes, or I'm going to be spicy and sexy by being crass and awful to my fellow elected officials. No one I ever worked for was like that. And I was lucky, because that's a fading reality here in Washington. I learned what civility and decorum and compromise and collaboration can do to advance the American economy and to advance just American way of life every day. And I worked in a leadership office on Capitol Hill for the House Majority Whip. That is the chief vote counter in the House, who serves underneath the Speaker. And I worked for an American legend, someone I revere and think about every day, a guy named Congressman Jim Clyburn from South Carolina, 6th District of South Carolina, legendary civil rights African-American member of Congress. And then I went from there, from the legislative side to the regulatory side, and I was chief of staff to a commissioner at the Federal Communications Commission. So I saw how Congress works, how laws get passed. Then I saw how they get implemented and promulgated into a regulation that American companies have to adhere to. And from there, I came downtown and had similar roles to the one I have now at DSA, the most recent being at the Blockchain Association in the world of crypto and digital assets. And I would be happy to talk about the many, many parallels and the many similarities between decentralized finance and the importance and power of holding your own assets the way you want them, and the similarities between running your own business and being your own voice and your own motor in direct selling.
Wow.
And a lot of the knocks and a lot of the reputation hits to the channel are similar to what we experienced in the early days of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. And I can get into that too, because I learned a lot and I'm bringing a lot to this. So a lot of stuff. It's unending.
I'm going to turn over to Donna because I know she has an amazing question, but I just want to tell you that listening to you speak, I realized, and I think that this is something that everybody else would be excited about. The world either runs on unity or it runs on division, and there are people that think division may be quicker sometimes. And we live in a world where selling rage and hate can really blow things up. I always felt that network marketing was a great defense against that. Didn't care where you came from, didn't care what you believed, what education you had. As long as you were willing to go do the work, it was really the great equalizer. I still believe that. But in a world that's getting so divisive, I feel that it again can be a great unifier. But in order for that to happen, the industry itself has to be unified. And it's gotten very fragmented because of the world around it and because it's grown very quickly, et cetera. But it seems to me that the DSA, the ANMP, other organizations that are trying to be more of an umbrella to the industry as large can lead in that unity. So with what you're talking about versus what we've seen in the past, I think that you can bring a feeling of unity to the space. And if you can, it's going to unify behind you, and who knows what we might be able to do. And on that, I'm going to turn it over to Donna because I know she's got some things she wants to ask you while we are lucky enough to have you with as busy as you are. Donna?
Yes, thank you, Dave. Thanks, Lisa. And I literally just have two questions, but the first one, really interesting that you said the crypto reputation has been hit like direct sales, but we're like a century old, right? So I think the unification piece is a big reason for that. We're all silos. We live in our silos in between field and corporate, between companies, and that has really got to stop. And Lisa, Tom, and I represent the ANMP, Association of Network Marketing Professionals. It's a nonprofit. And the reason we volunteer is because we love this profession and want to serve, even though we don't have much authority or anything, but we I guess our influence comes from really steering the culture and the ethics and the integrity of the profession. You said something so I met you in February. So you became the new CEO of the DSA in January. I have been in network marketing for 48 years, started as a teenager. I have never seen DSA employees like you. I was invited as the only field speaker at the DSA compliance conference in Salt Lake in February. And so I'm among all the suits, the compliance suits, and they introduce you as the new CEO of the DSA. And I have to tell you, I'm thinking, oh, here comes another suit. And literally,
I can take my blazer off if it helps get rid of that opinion. Do you want me to just go short here? And
literally, you probably could hear me jumping in the back of the room when you told your story about building in the profession. And when nobody gives out their phone number like that. And you really are a person of your word. We've had several conversations, and I love the energy and the spirit that you're bringing to our profession. It's so needed. And just in our pre-show conversation, the things that you're already doing are just mind-blowing. So in 9 months, I believe you have already accomplished more than the DSA has done in 9 years, and from my humble opinion. So one of our conversations, you talked about the urgency that we're in. And I think it's really important that we don't mess around anymore, because you're not just up against the regulatory fight. We're coming from all different directions. And you shared with me sort of the pendulum swinging and how important it is now. And I know that we fight for collaboration between companies, between field and corporate. And I think that you are going to help us with the DSA have more collaboration to fight what is happening out there. I saw Richard Brooke comment, we have to rise up and we can't mess around anymore. This is the most beautiful profession in the world. You don't see, I remember Richard Brooke having a conversation with a mom. You don't not send your kids to soccer because they may not be a professional soccer player, right? You don't see realtors or, franchises coming up against what we do. So we have a unique position that we're really, really bombarded with a lot of hate. And you talked about the sense of urgency. Can you share about that?
I can. It is, it's important to just look at this from a pragmatic point of view in terms of urgency here and what the DSA is doing. And I'll go back to my comments from the beginning. We have a skill set and an ability and access and credibility with opinion makers, stakeholders in senior levels of government, other places. And after a while in learning those rhythms and watching how the system works, and that's all the way back to Schoolhouse Rock and how a bill becomes a law and everything else, you can get a feeling or just a general sense of how Congress or editorial writers or news bureau editors view an industry, view people, etc. And there, for all the power and greatness of the channel, it has its detractors, and it also has its bad actors, right? News at 11, everybody knows that. And the problem is when the bad apples turn into a perception of the entire bushel or the entire orchard. And when that happens, if it's a negative market event or a single bad actor or bad actors, it takes a while for that scab to heal and for memories to fade. And if they don't, you have to help sway those perceptions. I mentioned a moment ago, crypto. When I was at the Blockchain Association, we experienced one of the greatest market earthquakes an industry ever has, and that was with the collapse of FTX and its founder, a guy named Sam Bankman-Fried. And we had for years been talking about the democratizing power of digital assets and how you can instantaneously use crypto to send money overseas and how you can use it as your own store of wealth that won't be subject to a bank failure or a lending crisis, what have you. But a single bad actor, the founder of FTX, bombed us back to the Stone Age by using customer deposits in his exchange to the tune of $8 billion to fund his own personal investments or material things and campaign contributions, et cetera. And Congress and the Biden administration at the time said, we're never going to believe you again. This confirms that you are full of bad actors and you are full of false promises, and your time in Washington is done. And through a whole bunch of hard work and messaging and the industry coming together in collaboration, that opinion shifted, and it's now done a 180 in terms of crypto's perception in DC. Direct selling, DSA is over 110 years old. Some of the greatest American companies and salespeople have emerged from direct selling. It still carries a reputation, chiefly among progressive Democrats, that it is predatory, that it has predatory elements, that it takes advantage of unsuspecting, lower income, lower educated people. I've already heard that a lot, and I haven't even been through my first year. And there is a giant delta, a huge disconnect between perception and reality. I don't need to tell any of you this. And that is one of the main things that we are doing as DSA, as an association, and serving a role that most associations do here in Washington, which is representing our member companies and our individuals in front of government to strike down those false narratives, to discuss how direct selling allows any American to start a business with low to no startup costs, to make entrepreneurship accessible to people who can't afford a traditional storefront or a traditional franchise, to use it as flexible side income, to let individuals like parents or students or retirees or military spouses earn extra money on their own schedule. And even though most direct sellers are doing their own things, some of them are part of giant teams, some of them talk, some of them attend giant conferences, it still coalesces together as a family of just widespread Americans using what God has given them and that engine inside them to make their lives better. And as I said a little while ago, to make people happier, prettier, healthier, more fit, and everything else in between. And if you look at the demographic breakdown of Congress and you look at the demographic breakdown of direct selling, our stories really touch large blocks of caucuses and groupings in Congress, right? And I think that that's something that the DSA is uniquely positioned to do. There are 62 members of the Congressional Black Caucus, right, across the House and the Senate. There are 43 members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. We have a giant, proud, historic sales force across the channel made up of African American and Hispanic individuals. And I have met them coming off the stage at Senegence or walking the hallways at Amway or at Direct Selling University, where Stuart Johnson gathers people from all walks of life to come, to listen, to talk. I'm this week going to more of our member companies and hopefully meeting not just the people who work there, but members of the field who can talk about this and bringing those stories and targeting them to the people who hold the keys to the guardrails and laws around talking about the business opportunity and talking about earnings claims is the secret sauce of what DSA does. And there are onerous pieces of legislation, and I should take back onerous because we're collaborating with the sponsor of a piece of legislation in Delaware, and we're working with her, a representative named Melanie Roslevin. We're working with her on the perceptions and the stereotypes that she has had, and we're marrying them with reality, and we're myth busting the parts that she has heard that are just erroneous and sad and nasty. And we are working with her on amending the language of her bill because the unintended consequences of that bill could be very detrimental in terms of waiting periods and in terms of notice and in terms of other things that just aren't going to blend with the direct selling model as we know it. There are other bills in Sacramento, in Texas, and these are not things that members of the field should worry about. This is for us to worry about. This stuff it exists in the back corners of C-SPAN, right? And on possibly page 27 of the roll call newspaper that we all read here in DC. But there are little things that can make their way through a state assembly or the House of Representatives that could have profound impact on the ability to sell and speak freely as a member of the channel. And some of those laws are on the books for really good reasons, to not overstate or misstate things in order to grow your downline. There are some really good laws on the books. There are some that need tweaking. And then there are some proposed laws that should never see the light of day. That's what we're doing here. And and collectively, as this incredible American channel with us on the watchtower, we hope that we're putting points on the board, or we're keeping carnage off the board. So there's two ways to look at that. Yes.
Yeah, and as you shared, right now we're in a pro-entrepreneurial environment, but that will change. And so the more headway, I guess what you're saying, what we agree with you, is we have got to wake up and be more proactive for our channel, always doing the right thing, supporting our local and state governments. I know Gordon Hester, Ryan Chamberlain, there's a lot of work going on to make a difference. And you're also doing actionable items such as, the yearly anti-MLM thing that goes on out east. Like, you sent a letter to the school. I mean, I love that. You're so proactive with supporting our channel. Can you share about that?
Yeah, and this is, and none of this, we're not gotcha people, but we are going to keep people honest. And there is a gathering of very bright people who are, and I believe that they would admit this, they're detractors, critics of the channel. Some of them very erudite and data-based. Some of them there to keep us honest and to point out where there are bad actors or there are misdeeds. But it also, there are gatherings that exist to just bang a drum of disinformation about the channel generally. And I alluded to that before. And it's again, it just to bounce this back to my previous association. Crypto, by many naysayers on the Hill, was called the on-ramp or the funding mechanism for child traffickers and fentanyl sales in Hamas in North Korea and all other horrible stuff. And even if crypto was used by those entities, that's not what crypto is, and that's not fair. And to call direct selling a charade or a smokescreen for people to game Americans or to take advantage of people, we're not going to take that sitting down. And so what you're referencing, Donna, is a gathering that happens at a state-funded university, and we felt that we should just raise a flag to say that there is data and representation that's being done here that should be known and that should be, exposed is a negative word, but I'll just go with be known, that the one-sidedness of it should be looked into. And we, with gatherings that we do, we hope everybody attends. If you want to sit in the crowd and throw tomatoes at me, you're more than welcome. But we're an open book. And so we are going to vigorously defend all four corners of the channel. And we're not going to do it in one sentence, immature tweets with 4-letter words. It's just not our style. We're going to do it with facts and use cases and stories. And thank God we've got billions of them, so it makes it a little bit easier. But take, for example, our direct selling day on Capitol Hill last month. 85 individuals came. We had unbelievable women in their matching blazers. We had people ready to just walk every hallway and every congressional building to proclaim the merits and amazing attributes of direct selling. And we did it on a day when the first direct selling related law and bill was cleared through a congressional committee since the 80s. Serendipity is a funny thing. And a bill that harmonizes the Fair Labor Standards Act with the IRS code in carving out the role of the independent contractor was passed through a congressional committee that day. It's got a long way to go, but that's step one. And we're now directing all of our energy to hopefully get that bill through Congress in an environment right now, in a regulatory environment right now, that is not awful for ecosystems like ours. You have a very capitalistic, pro-business administration in the White House, and you have leadership in the House and the Senate that are very much the same way. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, tremendous guy from Louisiana, was an Amway salesman in his youth and loves talking about it. Third in line to the presidency, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he's there, and he's one of ours. And when I say one of ours, I mean just someone who spent time in the channel like I did, and has it in his DNA.
Good
So
to know.
right now we are in a place where we want to fire up those engines, and it would be a very different universe. Again, saying this as moderate Democrat Dave, it would have been a very different universe had the election gone a different way last year for the White House. The scrutiny would have been much tighter and much hotter. And it wouldn't have been done to blow the direct selling channel out of the water. It would have been done under the mantle of protecting American consumers. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of unintended consequences can come from viewpoints that just are preconceived, or they just don't listen or take into account the possibility that they're getting the data wrong, or that they're seeing it differently. And if they're only going to focus on a single bad actor, again, in crypto, it was Sam Bankman-Fried with FTX, you're going to miscolor something really great and powerful where people are making supplemental income and it's making them happy. And I'll again reference Senegence when I went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm looking out into the sea of strong, incredible, fired up, vibrant, beautiful women selling Senegence products, age spectrum all the way up, all the way down. They've made some of their best friends in the world doing this. They have increased their confidence by doing this. Oh my gosh, I just marketed and presented some incredible lip gloss, and people were interested and they listened to me. Maybe they had not done that in the past, or who knows what the varying level of education or professional success is, but they were happy and they were doing something that they love. And there shouldn't be something or someone that gets in the way of that if it's lawful. And what we want to do at DSA is to make sure that that lawfulness is adhered to. If it's got to change, that we are the mechanism to change it, and that there aren't, across the 50 states in their capitals and here in DC, that there aren't regulations, legislation, bills, what have you, that get in the way of pursuing that. And it's an honor to be part of it, I have to tell you.
Thank you, Dave. So this window we have of a pro-business environment, we should not be resting on our laurels. This is when we really need to unite and partner with you. So Tom, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, I just want to thank you. We're not getting out of here yet. We've got to unite everybody. I mean, this guy can't do it alone. He walked into an absolute unbelievable situation, and he bravely stood up and had to clean house before he got rolling here. And in a very short amount of time, he's mobilized. And what I love about the work that he's doing is he's not just talking to the companies, because we've done that for so long, where we relied on the companies to have our backs, and it might or might not have happened. But the way that I feel now is that we can be the mouse that roared. We can step up to the plate and help Dave. I mean, we had an earlier call. He said he hits these towns. Everybody wants to take him hunting, fishing, climbing mountains. He says, no, I just want to have a cup of coffee with people that can help me move this needle, because this needle needs moved, and it's not happening in the boardrooms. It's happening in coffee shops all across this country. And if I can get people to understand that, I will listen to them by giving your phone number of all things, which is absolutely amazing. But I saw you do that at the ANMP. You were trying to get there. You couldn't get there. So instead, you blew out a video with the White House behind you saying, look, here I am. I want to step up and help you be bigger, everybody from the ANMP. And Dave, we just want to help you. And we think we can mobilize some people through the ANMP to come to the DSA and help you really, really make us a lot bigger force out there. And these anti-MLM people, it's wonderful. You know, they believe what they believe. But we can believe it louder with integrity if we know we've got your ear, that you have got our back, and you're writing those letters and you're doing the things that you're doing, and we're standing behind marching to the, we don't want, you know, we've got to self-police. And the key word is police. We've got to keep ourselves clean so no one can take those shots. And you're just the man to help us with that. And I love you and I thank you, and we want to help you.
And Tom, I mean, what I need. I just need to hear people talk about the success they've had and the love that they have for the channel. And I am happy to sit in a coffee shop or in a hotel hallway in the middle of nowhere and listen to someone who is staring into my eyes because they just want to talk about what the channel means to them. And then I use what we have here, which is credibility and access, to go in and talk to the 20-year elected official in his or her 70s who is now a committee chairman or chairwoman to say, I just spoke to 1 or 2 or 23 people from your congressional district. Let me tell you their stories, or let me bring them in to talk to you, because there is a bill that is going to do XYZ that's going to get in the way of what they are doing to take their families out to dinner a couple times a month, to buy a couple pairs of extra jeans for their son, to help with tuition. Do you know that they exist? Can we tell you what this means to them? That is where all of the connective tissue is. And as I said, I stand on the shoulders of everybody watching today, because my experience in the channel is I love that story of me, but I need 100 million of those stories, right? I need to hear from people who vote for certain members here who are detractors and aren't giving the channel its due. And that's how we put all of this together into the mixing bowl, and it comes out as this incredible narrative. And that's the key piece. That's
literally every day out there in the world, there's layoffs in big corporations. There's something going on politically where people are losing their livelihood. And it would be such a beautiful thing if the world knew that they could be building something that was a hedge against that, which is what you're talking about. And what we need to do is have you tell us what we need to do to help you. What's our marching orders in order for you to be able to do your job better, knowing that you've got an army behind you, and that would help you a ton.
Number one, be in touch. You can be in touch with me. It doesn't need to be a colleague of mine. It doesn't need to be an outside consultant of ours. My ear is the one that wants to hear this sort of thing. Number two, if I have to break glass and pull the fire alarm, and I need 300 people to come walk the hallways of the state capitol in Rhode Island or in Nebraska, I'm not going to cry wolf. We're going to need it, and we're going to need it fast. Or if we need to get emails in to an elected official to say, dear State Senator Smith, we appreciate your service to the state of whatever, but you are introducing a bill that is going to do harm. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you and we can help with all of that messaging. And we've already done it in the past. And then furthermore, if you can get to DC, come here, let me know. Hopefully we can walk to a couple offices, meet a couple elected officials together. And if not, arm me with your stories. Again, arm negative connotation, but you know what I mean?
There you go.
Equip me with your stories. And that way we can seed this ground because, as Donna said, we're in a really friendly environment right now, right? With someone in the White House who understands sales pretty well, love him or hate him, but it's not always going to be that way. And the snapback at some point is going to come. And the unfortunate reality of politics now isn't we're going to change a few things that my predecessor in the White House did, and the transition is going to be calm and the passage of power is going to be civil, and it's George Bush and Barack Obama walking arm in arm down the White House colonnade. It isn't like that anymore. The hospitality and the graces and all that, maybe they return, but they're not there right now. Now it's a lot of revenge.
Yeah.
A president left the White House, a new one comes in, I'm going to undo everything he did. I'm going to rip down everything she did. I'm going to get back at those industries that got a free ride or a free pass or light regulation. Spreading the seeds right now is what the channel needs to do to myth bust. It's
And do you want people to email you, Dave, at your email address? Do you want them to
call me or text me?
Okay, good. That's so
call me or text me. That's the thing.
And I think that's one thing that we can do as the ANMP is step in and be that kind of funnel for you. But I think what we've done, we talked about this pre-show, is we've kind of woken up some sleeping giants. I told you, Dave, one thing about networkers, when we rally around something, that's why we're successful in this business. And so I think this show has made us all realize how important it is for us to collaborate across the channel in all epic areas. 48 years ago when I started, most owners and corporate people in our space built a network marketing business. Now, when you go to a corporate company, you'll be lucky to see one person who ever built a business. And so now more than ever, I believe the voice of the field is so important so that we are represented. And we just want to thank you. You stepped into this position at just the right time. And we want to be here for you to support you as the ANMP, as the Fields channel. I know the majority of people watching are field leaders like Lisa, Tom, and I. Some earning a little extra spending money. Sometimes there's way too much month at the end of the money. That's how I started as a single young mom. And then there's people earning more, but we're all united together with you, and we're excited to support this.
Well, be in touch, bombard me, avalanche me, all of it. I can handle it.
I cannot believe this. You are a lunatic. So we are so happy about this, and that we will. And it's just been an honor having you aboard. Lisa, you're so brilliant. You want to ask him anything else before we get out of here?
Actually, just a thought, listening. Tension divides and shared purpose and vision or survival tends to unite. And I think a lot of the companies, it's a good climate right now for business, but businesses are in a position where they are feeling the effects of a lot that's gone on. So it's a really unusual time. Companies get stressed. They're afraid of regulatory stuff. So they tend to get cautious. They don't really articulate it well to the field, particularly part-time people. So they feel like, oh, they're mad at me, or this doesn't make any sense, or why am I doing this? And everybody gets antsy. And it would seem to me that if we can all unite behind the very simple thing that you said, I don't think Mr. Rogers used to say, you can't stay mad at somebody if you learn their story. So I think that this idea that you have is really profound because companies are well suited to it, but they're always collecting the story for the company's product, the company's testimonial, the testimonial for this organization's event. And if we can go out and just say to people, what does network marketing mean to you? How has it changed your life? What has it done for you that you didn't have? Tell us your story. And we can get people to start sending the overreaching stories that make everybody cry, make everybody think. And we can get those in your hands. It may very well be the stories of commonality that unite everybody to be able to actually get something done. Maybe we don't need to understand exactly how the regulation is for or against us, because you got that. We just need to give you the, I don't want to use the weaponized word, which the equipment that is necessary to go down, or let's say carrot and stick with which to be persuasive when you talk to people.
Yeah. And again, when we had direct selling day, I don't know if there has a shrinking violet ever existed in the history of the channel. I mean, we are, I say it in my sleep, right? You cannot replace face-to-face. We are such powerful, energetic, pleasant, excited people. And it makes this job easier. Not to detract from any industry I've ever been part of or worked for, but this is personality off the charts. And I got a lot of ants in my pants. I don't sit still real well. I don't have bad days. And I am in a place where I think that's shared by a lot of us together. So I just be in touch. Be in touch, and let's do it together. I need your help, but I stand on all of your shoulders.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
You take a look at all the people that have talked you up, whether it was Garrett McGraw or Gordon Hester. On here, we've got a lot of people. Laura Evans was the president of XL Communications. She's commenting. Richard Brook, the various people willing to pick up the call. I'm not going to use weapons, the magic dust to make this world understand how great this profession is. We've needed somebody like you for such a long time, sir, and we are going to work you hard. We're going to ride you hard and put you away wet, and we're excited about that. And thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank all of you for watching, and you did it. You really, really got the word out that this guy is the real deal. Lisa,
and everyone watching, please share. Please share this replay in your networks.
Yep. All right. Thanks a million. Everybody have a great, great day. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.